Welcome to Let's Talk NRM, our monthly program on natural resource management. This comes to you from MBMA, the Meghalaya Basin Management Agency, under the CLLMP program, the Community-Led Landscape Management Project. Ever since the present government took over in 2018, there has been a decided focus on natural resource management. The Chief Minister himself has reiterated on many occasions his interest in maintaining and improving the state of the environment in the state. A number of initiatives have been taken through the Community-Led Landscape Management Project, CLLMP. The latest in this is the PES, the Payment for Eco-Services. And again, PES is being led by the CLLMP program. Today we have with us an expert who's also the co-chairman and director of MBMA, Dr. S. Ashutosh, the chairman and director of the Center of Excellence under MBMA, talk on the payment for ecosystem services, on the seed ball initiative, and also on the forest management plan. Welcome to our program, sir. The payment for ecosystem services has kind of caught on the imagination of the people. And many a times it has happened that people watch our episodes and then they want to take the benefit of these programs. We would like you to start off with explaining what this program is all about, the PES program, and how the communities and people at large can take benefit of this program.
So, as you have already told, this is a new initiative launched in our state, and this was launched by our Honorable CM. First on 2nd April this year, and then secondly another version of PES scheme has been launched, which is applicable to the whole state just last month, again by our Honorable CM. Payment for ecosystem services, as this phrase suggests, this is about incentivizing communities, the people who own forests, who own land, for being incentivized for generating ecosystem services, producing ecosystem services. And how they will do it? They will do it by following certain prescribed management practices on their forests or on other lands which they have. This concept has been there since quite some time.
Particularly in Europe.
Particularly in Europe and USA.
But in India, I think
and in some African, South America, African countries. But in India, some pilot projects have been tried in some of the states. But I think Meghalaya is the first state where this program has been launched by the state government on such a large scale. So this is really a very great initiative for the state.
So in this program, basically, the communities will get paid for maintaining the ecosystem that they already have, or if they even improve it.
Yeah.
And there is a way to measure it.
Yes. So yes, payment payment for ecosystem services for maintaining as well as improving the ecosystems which they possess on their land holdings. And yes, as you have rightly said, this the payment, quantum of payment and the payment itself will be decided after verification. So in fact, this is very much suited to our state. This is in fact a recognition to the traditional knowledge, the ethos, conservation ethos of our tribal people, who have been quite close to the nature. They have maintained sacred groves, they have maintained privately owned forests, community forests since ages. So they are already in fact generating ecosystem services, they are protecting ecosystem. Now, but as it has happened elsewhere, the population has increased, aspiration of the people also have increased, and that has led to increase in economic activity. Right. And all these have now they are causing some kind of stress on our ecosystems, as it is happening everywhere. And on top of that, this climate change is further aggravating, adding stress to the ecosystem services, and we can see all around that our water flow in the streams, in the springs, it is reducing. We are seeing depletion of biodiversity at some places. So these are the indications, in fact, which we definitely, and our government has accorded a very high priority to conservation and natural resource management. So many initiatives, so many programs in mission mode have been launched, and so this initiative, this call for this payment for ecosystem service has come from our highest executive, that is the Honorable CM. Yes.
But this is a time-bound program, probably for 5 years. It's a project running for 5 years. What makes you think that the people will continue to preserve the ecology? There is no incentive after that. So how do you ensure that even after the project is over, the people would continue?
Initially, yes, the program, as we have advertised, it is for a period of 5 years. But during these 5 years, our effort would be that communities are empowered and they are enabled to take up some NRM based livelihood activities also, say along with the ecosystem improvement activities, so that in 5 years time they have alternative source of income, which
and it is a sustainable income.
Sustainable income, linked to the natural resource management. And secondly, in our wider scheme, it is say after within this period of 5 years, we will encourage, we will impart training to the communities for preparing forest management plan. Forest management plan we will prepare, and that will be then that plan will be approved as working scheme. So once a working scheme is approved for a forest, for a community forest or for a private forest, then means on the scientific basis, you can harvest timber, which is legally also permissible under the orders of Honorable Supreme Court, and that will lead to income generation for the people in a scientific manner, in ecologically sound manner, and also in a legally permissible manner.
Wonderful. So there is a aspect of educating and training the community as part of this program.
Yes, yes. That is, that is envisaged, that we will remain engaged with the communities in imparting them training, making them aware about all these tools and techniques, and will help them in getting the plans prepared, while they also practice scientific forest management as per the prescriptions, like prevention of forest fire, assisted natural regeneration, then planting native trees within the gap areas, raising community nurseries, controlling invasive species. There are a number of activities which they can do, which will lead to improvement of forests.
During the closing function of the week-long World Environment Day celebrations a few days back, the Forest Management Plan was released. Now in Meghalaya, 90% of the forests are either owned by private parties or by communities, not the government. So how does this plan work towards helping the communities or the individuals? How does this plan really help in training the communities to manage their forests, private forests, community forests? Is it binding on the communities and individuals to go by this plan, the forest management plan that was released, as a guide? If you could, enlighten our listeners on this, or viewers.
In Meghalaya, the forests are largely owned by communities, clans and individuals. We have nearly 76% of the geographical area of the state under forest cover. So we are a blessed state, very rich in forests, very rich in biodiversity. But from the owners, unlike other states in Meghalaya, the ownership of forests, as you have said, over 90% lies with the communities, clans and individuals, if you have to say three broad ownership categories. Forests are quite extensive, very rich forest, rich in biodiversity. These forests owned by communities and individuals, they are not under scientific management. As you know, forest management, there is a science behind that. It's a biophysical entity, a living entity, and it has to be managed sustainably for in perpetuity for generations to come, following a scientific method. And for that, we have to prepare a scientific forest management plans. Now, for the forests which are under the control of government, state forest department, they are under working plans, management plans, which have been prepared following the scientific guidelines. For these forests, now a new initiative has been undertaken under this CLLMP project, wherein for all these 400 project villages, forest management plans have been prepared. You said whether this is binding, so this is not binding on communities or individuals. In fact, we have to educate them, encourage them that what kind of benefits it will accrue, means it will lead to them by following the scientific methods of management of forests. So this is not binding. We have
It is suggestive.
It is suggestive. It is suggestive. But we are also telling them that if you prepare these forest management plans, then those plans can be graduated to working scheme, and that will enable them to legally do the sustainable forest management of their forests. At the same time, generate some revenue from the forest in the form of sustainable yield.
Okay.
So that is the long-term objective or long-term course which we are trying to enlighten our communities in the state. So these plans have been prepared by involving the communities' youths, and they have been trained on all those tools and techniques. They are now, we have created a cadre of 1200 youths from these 400 villages, which we call them village community facilitators, VCFs. And they have received this training means 2-3 times. They are now capable of using GPS. They are capable of using prismatic compass for laying down sample plots, doing the measurements, measuring the heights, using Avenese level. So all kinds of this scientific have been provided, and they have done this exercise on more than 14,000 sample plots in these 400 villages. And using, then there was extensive exercise of entering the data, then data processing, and whatever results we got, then that was on the basis of those quantified figures of measuring the forest and area, and then satellite data was used for mapping the forest. For the first time, each village forest has been mapped under this exercise and categorized also in terms of dense forest and open forest. Right. We have also mapped forest type.
So the use of GIS in forest management has been a new feature. Can you explain how GIS is being used in forest management? GIS, as I understand, stands for Geographical Information Systems, and it uses satellite data. So how is this satellite data being used in forest management? If you could elaborate a little more for our viewers.
Yeah, Geographic Information System, GIS, is relatively a new feature in the forestry. We have been using GIS in our government controlled forests for some time, but for the community forests, I think this is the first such initiative wherein on such a large scale we have used satellite images for mapping forest areas of each village separately.
When you say mapping, you are doing area under forest cover?
Yes.
And you are also doing type of
Forest.
Yes. Deciduous
Yes.
or evergreen.
Coniferous.
Yeah, and even you're also able to identify the type of trees,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
So exactly that is being done. We are using satellite images for mapping the forest, and then forests once mapped, they are further categorized into dense forest and open forest, because this input is required in management of forest. And again, as you have said, we are also mapping forest types. So forest types, there is a standard classification system for Indian forests that is given by Champion and Sate. Champion and Sate classification of forest types. So we are following the same classification because that is followed in the whole country. This is the scientific method. So we are following the same classification system and categorizing each forest in each village according to the Champion and Sate classification. That is again an important input for management prescriptions. So we are doing that, and through this exercise, for the first time, now we are knowing the extent of forests in terms, say, acreage, hectare, how many hectares of forest in each village. So I think after these forest management plans in the 400 villages, first time we are knowing that each village is having how much, what is the extent of forest. So this is a new information which has been generated through this exercise. But of course, this is available for 400 forests only, 400 villages. Right. For other, I think for in other villages, we will have to undertake this exercise, take it forward. So GIS is a very, very important tool for natural features which have got a spatial extent, which are spread over vast territories and areas.
Which is otherwise difficult to do it manually.
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Before we wind up this episode, I want you to talk a little about the Seed Ball Initiative. What is this Seed Ball Initiative, and how can communities take benefits, and particularly how can school children get themselves involved in this Seed Ball Initiative, the Seed Ball program?
Seed Ball Initiative has been recently launched in the state. It was launched on 1st June 2022 by our Honorable Forest Minister in Tura. Right. It was launched, but at the same time it got initiated in 1800 schools across the state simultaneously. So we planned it like that. Now, Seed Ball is again, it's an old concept, but it has been means it is being used recently in a larger scale. Suddenly it has caught the imagination of everyone in the country and abroad also. Rather, it is happening on a much larger scale in other countries. Now, as we have discussed, our state, our natural resources are facing stress because of different reasons, and we have to try all possible methods, measures to improve our ecosystems, and in that direction government has also launched several activities. Seed Ball is a very low cost method of spreading, generating green cover and spreading biodiversity. Because it's a very simple, in fact you have to just make earthen small balls and put seeds inside and then dry it in the shade, and then seed balls are ready. Now once seed balls are ready, then it can be dispersed either manually or nowadays even drones are also being used. So in fact in our initiative both these components are there. So on one hand we want to use this method to create mass awareness in the school children. The idea is that we have to blend playfulness of the school children with the environmental consciousness. So it is very interesting for the students to make seed balls and then either use catapult or just throw seed balls here and there where they find the vacant lands and all. So this.
Who's providing the seed?
Yeah. So from MBMA, we are procuring seeds of mostly of native species, which also include fruit species. Because this also is a good method of food nutrition forestry or food forestry, you can say. So we are mixing fruit species as well as native species of trees largely in making the seed balls. And now we have planned in a manner that now we are training a cadre of master trainers. So presently, I think we have already trained between 200 to 300 master trainers across the state in almost every block. And these master trainers now have been assigned schools. They will be going to schools with some kit and seeds, and then they will further impart training to school children in making the seed balls. So that by the next planting season or any months, we have enough stock of seed balls with us, and then we can. This time also we could produce around 200,000, 2 lakh seed balls within the state, and rest we procured from outside. But next year, I think our idea is that the whole stock will come, and it will be quite substantive.
And it will be done
within the state. And parallelly, we have also developing in-house capacity for drone. We have a very competent drone team in MBDA, GIS lab. And so they have already developed an attachment with the drone which can carry seed and it can disperse at a certain interval, so that it is dispersed. So this drone method of broadcasting these seed balls will be very helpful, very useful in those areas which are a bit remote or they are difficult sites, like we have large abundant mine areas, coal mine areas, and some difficult sites which are not having any green cover. So on those areas we can use drones and spread the seeds. So we are working in these two directions. First, school children, that is our target, and then also developing capacity for drone dispersal. And also we are in touch with a few organizations. We are collaborating with them. We want to learn how others are proceeding. But many states have just initiated into this. So I think we are also at par with them on this initiative.
Wonderful talking to you. And thank you so much for sharing all this. It's going to be very helpful to all the communities and the viewers that we have, and the response has been wonderful over the episodes. Thank you so much for participating in this program.
Thank you very much, you too.
Thank you.
I enjoyed talking to you on different questions which you asked.
Thank you so much. So there you are, viewers. You just heard Dr. S. Ashutosh, the Chairman and Director of the Center of Excellence under MBMA, talk on the PES, the Payment for Ecosystem Services, on the Seed Ball Initiative, and also on the Forest Management Plan. All of these programs are initiatives of the CLLMP program, the Community-Led Landscape Management Project. The CLLMP program has been a central figure in a lot of these projects that are coming up in the state and helping the community and the state in achieving the standards that are not seen otherwise or not have been seen in the past in the state of Meghalaya. With this, we wind up this episode. See you again next month with another episode of Let's Talk NRM.